Give it a minute. Hey guys, I am Audra R. of Church, and I'm really excited to bring to you an amazing, beautiful guest today that is going to share with you some important factors when it comes to being a writer and understanding just how important it is to recognize that your writing is really a business. You know, this guest is someone that's really dear to me, and it's just amazing how life can change and grow, and as you discover new things about yourself. Well, for me, not only did I discover things about myself, I discovered new family. Isn't that exciting? And so our guest today is a part of my family. And I am just excited and proud to share her with you all because she is amazing, as you will see in a few moments. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my future author, my business connection, but most importantly, my sister, Winifred Winston.
Oh, hi everyone. Yes, I'm Audra's little sister. She found me this year. We'll get into that later some other time. But yeah, she found me this year. So I'm excited to work with her and collaborate with her.
And as Winifred mentioned, she is my sister, but she's also a co-author in one of my books, Unchain Me Mama, The Forgiveness Factor. And I'm really excited about this book, just like all my books. But this book is really dear to me because I struggled with dealing with the connection with my mom because she suffered from mental illness. Mm-hmm. And as I grew and began to understand myself as a woman, I recognized how important it was to deal with a lot of those struggles, not having my mom growing up in my life. And lo and behold, there were so many other women in the world just like me. And through this process of Unchain Me Mama, which is now a whole movement, right? We have elevated into several books, and many authors are part of the project, and it's just been amazing. However, there's one thing I've noticed. As I get out into the community and I work with upcoming authors, they seem to all have a similarity. They struggle with connecting the dots with their book as a business. Mm-hmm. I think it's because we share these stories that are so personal. We see it as our thing. You know, it's something that we want to do. So when it comes to investing money and time and sacrificing, we really don't want to do that because we don't see the business connection. And Winifred is definitely one. I don't know if it's because we got the same blood running through our veins. But she picked up on that immediately and really respected the process. And because of that, success is just on the horizon for her. And I'm just so excited to be a part of her life and witness it all. So Winifred, let me ask you, when you first embarked on this process, right? How did that connect so easily for you, that writing was a business?
Oh, well, I've been a career consultant for the past 10 years. And a part of building my brand in career services was writing. I would write career articles. I wanted to get featured in magazines, in journals. And I was a broadcast journalism major. So I knew by putting the pen to paper, that was a business, building my credibility, building my brand, giving me access, exposure. So I knew that writing was a business.
Yes.
I knew that.
And she doesn't play. Like she's on point when it comes to her business aspects. And if you haven't picked up on it, she's from New York as well, just like I am.
Yeah, she's my sister.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a certain element when you come from New York as far as, you know, we don't let folks in too easily, right? It can be a process.
Yes. It's just, you're guarded. Not intentionally, not rude, but it's just you're going, you're doing you. So you don't really think about letting people in your space.
Right.
You're just doing you.
So being a part of a collaboration when your upbringing kind of tells you to keep folks at a distance, what has that experience been like collaborating with others in a book project as a collective?
Well, for me, it wasn't that. It was kind of the opposite. Okay. I'm very transparent and very open. And I wanted to do the book because I wanted it to be different than career services.
Right.
And having, being a single mom, having an 8-year-old daughter, a full-time job, and wanting to get a book out about a specific topic that had nothing to do with career services.
Right.
When I met Audra, I'd already paid a book coach. The book hadn't been produced. I was working on it. And she said, oh, I do anthologies. Oh, you do? Okay, let me hear more about this.
So hold on, before you go into that, let's explain to some of the viewers who may not know what an anthology is, what that means.
It's a book collaboration, and the visionary author handles everything with putting the book together and also training you. And for me, I had already purchased one step from someone, and that one step never came to fruition, right? I was working on it. I get sidetracked. I didn't have an in-house support system, if you will. So I have other women that are writing and talking about the same topic, and we can bounce ideas off each other. We're accountability partners. It just works when you're trying to maintain several streams of income and doing a little bit of this and that, to have this group of like-minded individuals who are doing the same thing.
Right.
So that was the draw for me.
See why I'm so proud of my little sister? I tell you, she's on it. And she picked up on it immediately and ran with it. And that makes me even more proud, because she gets it. And not everyone gets it. And because of that, they never really achieve the success that they're striving for. And understanding that your book and all aspects around your book will really facilitate you being success in your business, but it's going to require a change in how you see yourself, right? So Winifred mentioned she's a single mom. She has time to write her chapter.
Yes.
But doesn't want to do the other stuff.
Well, I don't like that title. I said that, but let me correct that.
Okay.
I'm a mom, and my daughter has a dad. I'm not a single mother. I know single mothers, and I'm not a single mother. Her dad is very active, very helpful, very involved. So I'm just not married. Maybe that's a better term, but I'm not a single mom. I won't own that, because I'm not. And I know people who are single moms, and the struggle is real. So I won't take that.
I applaud that.
Yeah, I'm not a single mom.
Okay. She just straightened me out.
No, I said it first. But then I have to correct myself, because I'm not.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I see that. And I'm so excited for you for that. And I'm excited for all the readers that are connecting with you and your growth in this process when you work with these other authors. So I know for a lot of the women that I consult with their writing process, that they cannot fathom working with one other woman versus 14, 13 other women. Can you share a little bit of insight into what that's like?
I think it's reassuring. It's comforting. And as Black women, we get a bad rep. We don't get along. We don't work well together. And in this space, what you find is that that's the total opposite.
Right.
It's not true. It's a myth. I'm living it. I'm experiencing it. We help each other. We collaborate. And it's just been a blessing. It's been a blessing, because again, you want like-minded individuals. You want to work and collaborate with people that look like you, especially around a topic so sensitive as Unchain Me Mama. And in the African-American community, we don't always want to talk about our issues. What goes on in this house stays in this house. And for me, wanting to share this story, wanting to share something totally different than career services, for me, it was a must do.
Yes.
And to encourage other women to do the same in sharing their stories, so that we can remove stigma around some issues that we have in our families. It was a no-brainer. Wow. It was a no-brainer. Yeah.
Well, again, I am truly honored that you chose to share your story in Unchain Me Mama. This whole process of putting this book together is just a passion of mine, but to have my family involved. When you're building a business and you're embarking on something you're so passionate about, many people receive kickback from their family flat. They don't get the support. So to have someone like a sister decide to be a part of this project, for me, was just, it was so amazing. I think I cried that whole night. I'm a crier, right?
Yeah. I'm not.
I think I cried that whole night when she mentioned it. And then when she sealed the deal, I was like, it really happened. Like, she's really a part of this project. And it put even more fire into me to make sure that not only she got everything, that she wants from the project, but that all the authors leave satisfied and on fire and ready to build amazing businesses that are going to change not just their lives, but the lives of their readers and their audience.
And let me add that initially when I wanted to be a part of the book collaboration, the story I wanted to tell about my mom was totally different. And Audra and I getting to know each other and just sharing stories about our upbringing, our childhood, our parents. We have different mothers. We have the same father. We had a conversation and I shared about my mom. And then maybe a week or two later, we were talking again and we were talking about the book. And she said, well, did you ever think about sharing this particular story with your mom? I was like, what story? There's a story there? And she's like, yeah. And I said, well, I don't know. That's deep. I'm like, that's deep. I never even thought of it. I never really tapped into that because it's so painful. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I thought she was going to hang up on me.
No, but I was shocked because I said, she took our conversation and now she turned it into something business, but it made me think about that particular story and to share that story, I felt like was very meaningful and very on point because it's a very personal story about a mother struggle between her mother and daughter. I mean, between her son and her daughter. Do you pick one or the other? How do you love them both?
Right.
When they're both hurting? And to me, that was like, wow. And there was a story there. I did forgive my mom. It was a journey. And then it turned into the forgiveness factor. But it was a journey to that forgiveness.
Yes.
And so there was definitely a story there. And so when you're collaborating, that's another good thing. You might go to someone and say, oh, I have a story. This is a story I want to tell. And this is a crappy story. Right. and they'll say, yeah, we'll take your money. And we'll write this book, help you, do this. But she helped me define that story. I came in with one story and she said, well, what about this? And it made me think, what about that story?
Right.
So that's another plus in collaborating with a visionary author. And then you also get the bounce back with the other members in the anthology.
I know with my authors, I sit down and I do a chapter development call with them. And so that's where we had that conversation because it's really important. As the lead, you know what all the stories are going to entail. So you understand that there has to be a common thread that weaves through to make it all cohesive.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why it's also important to make sure you're selecting the right authors who are willing to accept the feedback so that the project can be elevated.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the one story, it's about the project.
The collective of stories.
Correct.
The collective of stories.
Correct.
I could have had a story about my mom that had nothing to do with the journey to forgiveness. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm an Unchained Me Mama. I want to be in that book.
Right.
And that's not the case.
Right. So I appreciate you being open and willing to trust me to lead you in the right direction and to make this project just awesome.
Well, you're here for life now. I mean, you're here for life.
Pretty much. And this book will be here for life as well. And that's the amazing thing about a book. Is that it's going to outlive us. And it's something that our children and our children's children can be proud of. And so I'm excited to introduce Winifred to all of you guys. And can you let the viewers know where and how they can keep in touch with you going forward? Oh,
well, right now I'm really doing a lot of advocacy work around special education. And I have a Facebook group called Decoding, oops, not that one. I have several. Dyslexia Advocation.
Yes.
That's advocacy plus education. And I want to educate, empower, and equip African Americans with tools so they can successfully advocate for their children with learning differences. That's my next move. She's so hard.
I know.
That's my next move. But I am also a starch advocate, and I work with a huge nonprofit here to help advocate and get the word out about dyslexia. So
that's so awesome.
So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Everything is under my name, Winifred Winston. And Audra has slipped up a couple of times and said, Wendy, that's just a family nickname. It's okay. It's okay. I was on social media as Wendy too, but we're trying to rebrand me in this new space using my government name, which is Winifred Winston.
Her government name.
Yes.
And that's also understanding that her book is a business and people are going to see her name on the book and they're going to look her up. So and there has to be some consistency there, right?
And I also want to say, having been in a different field career consulting, it is very professional. It is very streamlined. I did not do Facebook. I did LinkedIn, and I was very closed off. You really don't let people in as far as who you are and what you're going through personally, because you're this professional, you're a career consultant, you're going to tell them how to navigate their career. So for me, Winifred, that was it. And I didn't use Facebook. So now that I'm writing a book and I'm sharing such a personal, intimate story, I've got to let people in on social media. And that's been a shift for me and a change. But in knowing that I want to move my business forward and I want to build a tribe of people who trust me and will come to my Facebook group for information and resources, I've got to let them in.
Gotta let them in, honey.
Gotta let them in.
Gotta let them in. I think that's the tip of the day. That's the tip. For all you new writers that are embarking on getting your book out there and struggling with, how do I allow people to see who I am, and I want to share the story, and should I separate my readers from my family? Look, let them in, y'all.
Let them in.
Just give it up. And I want you guys to give it up for the amazing Winifred Winston, my sister. I am so proud of you and so excited for all you're doing. And I am Audra R. Upchurch. If you guys want to keep in touch with me, you can do that on my website, audraupchurch.com. Have a great day, guys.